The top of the list is Language Arts 2 and Honors Language Arts 2. Dr. Roselle?
Okay, I will be quick. We revised Language Arts 2 and Honors Language Arts 2 to align with the 2023 New Jersey Student Learning Standards. Those were updated. Our goal was also to incorporate additional perspectives and text types. This is an American literature class, so we added additional indigenous voices, voices of women, voices from different minoritized groups. So students can really explore the different themes and the different time periods through multiple perspectives. The units are a blend of thematic and chronological. We begin with creation myths and indigenous voices, moving through colonial times, the birth of our nation, up through some more contemporary texts. Students explore the American dream, American values such as individuality, and we establish the historical context for different works. Primary source documents such as the Declaration of Independence and our Bill of Rights and texts like that as well. Additional other notable works of Mice and Men, The Great Gatsby, To Kill a Mockingbird, Just Mercy, The Crucible, The Catcher in the Rye. And then there are several other book club titles and independent reading titles that students also work with as they explore these themes. The primary difference between the honors level course and the standard level course, there are additional texts in the honors level course, some additional writing, some deeper analysis, and there is less scaffolding of the content by the teacher for the students in the honors level class. So those are the new documents. Any questions about those?
This is starting sophomore year?
Yes, Language Arts 2 is a grade 10 sophomore course, correct.
And when was this last updated?
This had been the previous update. I am not positive. I want to say 2016, which was when our last standards were done, but I can get back to you if you want to know the specific year.
And just what standard is it aligned to now?
The 2023 are the
Okay.
most updated. So that's the one that this is aligned to.
Is it aligned to the most updated standards?
Yes.
I don't have any other questions. Mr. Zeitner, would you have any questions?
No, I do not.
Okay.
I looked at it and it's rather comprehensive, to say the least.
Yes,
As
they did an
always.
amazing job.
Thank you. They did.
Good job.
I agree.
Thank you.
You can continue, Dr. Roselle.
Those are my only two.
So next up, we have Ms. Drust with Honors Biology.
Good evening, everyone. We, much like Dr. Roselle, needed to align this document to the most recent science standards. It came up in our rotation of documents. Honors Biology covers the same core content as biology does. They are the same standards. However, the main difference is the level of depth that the students explore in each topic. And in honors biology, there is a little bit less scaffolding. Students are expected to be more critical thinkers and do some more independent work. The topics that we cover are science as a process in general, where students will design their own lab experiments, molecules of life, which focuses on the parts of living things, as well as cells, energy, which is photosynthesis, cellular respiration, cell reproduction, DNA, genetics, biotechnology, which they always love to learn about, especially because that's really the more cutting edge stuff dealing with stem cells and the newer technologies that are coming out, evolution, and finishing up with ecology. One of the really nice parts about the honors biology curriculum is that yes, there are what we would consider more traditional assessments. However, embedded within, there are labs for every unit. There are also projects where students get to really be more creative and show mastery of the content beyond just a simple multiple choice or open-ended question. Also, there are debates put in. So the authors have really done a really great job in trying to make sure that the topics are covered in an interesting way and giving the students to really demonstrate their mastery and build their study skills. We really are trying in honors to try to get students prepared for AP if that is their goal in the future.
Ms. Ross, I only had one question. So typically bio is a freshman subject, and either they can take lab bio or honors bio, or I feel like these days even AP bio, right? Can
Correct.
they take that? Right. Does a student have the option of going for honors bio in higher grades if they did lab bio and felt like they want to pursue more in bio?
Typically, what we recommend for those students is if they really feel that they're ready to explore biology further, there's a couple avenues they could take. Number one, we really have a large volume of electives that students can take. So for example, if a student finds, hey, I really like that biotechnology unit we did, they can do a whole course on that. The other option is something like anatomy and physiology, or we do have students who really, beyond their freshman year, have they mature more as a student, and they actually take on the challenge of taking AP Bio as they move into their junior or senior year. So we do have several students that take that path as well.
Excellent. Yeah, because I felt like there are so many kids that come in as freshmen not knowing if they're capable of it. And there's a lot of, perception, and the perception of honors bio is that, oh my God, it's really hard, unless you're really ready for it, take it. But then once they've taken lab bio and found it too easy, but they do want to pursue the medical path, we have options for them. And I hope our counselors are talking them into the path that you just shared. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Charlie, I know Ms. Alvarez is here too. Mr. Payne, anybody else? All right, we can move on.
So Ms. Bora, I believe, I know Ms. DePayne can hear us, but I'm not sure if she's added as a panelist just yet, but I am able to confirm that she can hear us.
Okay.
So I don't know if Mr. Cordero, I don't know if that's, if you could add her as a panelist.
I think I already did add her as a panelist.
Okay. Mr. Payne, are you able to unmute yourself? If not, just text me and then I'll let them know. Okay. All right, let's keep moving forward.
Yep. Ms. Gasco is next on our list, and she has a few documents in whatever order you want to go in, Ms. Gasco. Looks like you have 5 documents.
I have 5 documents, and I'm kind of grouping them because they kind of pair together. Just to give you kind of an overarching idea of all of them, we did, as like language arts, we had new standards in terms of 2023. So last year we were updating the Algebra 1s and the Algebra 2s. This year I'm updating the geometries and then some of the elective type courses. They all are aligned to the 2020 career readiness and life literacy standards. The 2023 language arts would be in the cross curricular. In the document, you won't actually see standard numbers. I talked to Dr. Rozelle on that back and forth. They are their standards, just when you list them as cross curricular, they list them as domains, but it's exactly the same idea. There's also the 2020 computer science and design you'll see here and there. Science engineering is usually practices we use as cross-curricular, which the state has agreed that's a good idea because they're more overarching. And then we have the WIDA language arts development standards as well. So some of the things that are new in addition to doing the standards is that we've been adding the tier 2 and the tier 3 vocabulary words, which actually tells the difference between vocabulary that's specific to that subject or vocabulary that is just kind of overarching, that are used just kind of in general. I'm going to start with the geometries. I have 2 of the 3 documents. I have the Dynamics of Geometry and the regular level college prep geometry right now. Honors is still on its way to being developed. So the outline of the courses typically stays the same. We do have a new textbook series that we're adopting, so they use that as a resource in addition to the old one, which was kind of nice because you'll see some of the new references to the new one going through. So you'll have right transformations and symmetry, tools of geometry, logical arguments, triangles and congruence, relationships and triangles, proportion and similarity. A big portion of it is right triangles and trigonometry, not the level of trigonometry that you're thinking though in a pre-calculus course. It's really the idea of a triangle and using the angles of sine, cosine, and tangent. Circles, quadrilaterals, and then extensions of areas and volumes that they would have learned from the middle school years of 7th and 8th, but obviously in much more greater detail. Some things that they've changed in the standards are there are 3 things in particular in terms of geometry that were considered standards in the past that are now considered supplemental standards. And so they're in addition to that. You'll see more of if you can fit them into the regular a little bit and to the honors, definitely, but the dynamics, they're not needed. And they were things that were actually threw them off. It's deriving. So not the equation of a circle in terms of given a center and a radius, but this would actually be deriving it with something they've said you no longer have to do. Again, deriving the equation of a parabola. We would obviously do that in an honors level class, but you give it to them, you explain it to them, you show them in a discrete model what it looks like, but they don't have to necessarily know the mathematical reasoning about what actually created that. And then finding the point on a directed line segment between 2 given points that partitions a segment into a given ratio. That may be Greek to you, but again, that was something that was kind of done an extra, and it doesn't really get used later on down the road in classes, so they weren't necessary. So they didn't take things away and say you could never see them again. They made them as what they called a plus standard and just something that was extra. So one of the big differences between the documents from the past and from now is I've had them really put a lot of detail into the learning activities. And in the past, sometimes because we were creating these as time goes on, they were adding what topics should be covered. But now I've said, give suggested activities at what can be done. It's the ideas that if somebody is new to the course to teaching it, that they can take a look at it and get suggested ideas. It doesn't mean they're non-negotiables. The concepts would be non-negotiables, but these are ideas as to how to actually implement it into the class. The dynamics will have a lot more time in terms of spending hands-on time with the teacher working and practicing problems, less deriving of the theories behind it. There'll be a little bit of that, not so much where they're deriving it themselves, but they get an explanation of why something happened and where a theorem came about. But they don't necessarily have to do that on their own. They don't have to be the true mathematician that actually came up with this at some point in time. The regular level is going to have practice problems that are going to be more abstract than the dynamics. In both cases, they have to cover the same concepts because that's what's dictated by the state. And it is a course that's considered a graduation requirement. So it's just the level of rigor, the level of critical thinking that's going to be involved. That's where the difference evolves. And it really depends on what level you're getting ready for them down the road. Are there any questions on the 2 geometry documents?
I have 2 questions. So one is the textbook, you mentioned the textbooks are new.
Yes.
Are they new starting this school year or have we already starting this school year?
Yes, I was just finishing unboxing the hardcover of the teacher's edition. So when you come to Algebra 1 geometry and Algebra 2, they're pretty standard progressions. It's a pretty traditional progression. But what we went through when we adopted the textbook, one of the reasons why we looked at different options, the one they currently have was an option, but there were no additional type of resources that the company is putting forth into it. This one has a lot more technology resources. They have, I don't have the book in front of me right now because I'm at home, but they do have activities of like starting anticipatory sets and just things to kind of like get them really involved and get them understanding. We've got the electronic book, which is nice, and there's a lot of electronic resources that go with it. The middle school will have the electronic as well as the hard copy. But it goes along with the Envisions. It's an extension of the K-8 program that we have, but it's called Envisions AGA, Algebra, Geometry, and Algebra 2. But it's a fairly new book that's out, not brand new this year, but it's been well received by other districts going through.
Good.
Okay.
The other question I had was the aspects that you mentioned that are no longer standards but supplement to standards. How did we handle them in these documents? Did we let go of them, or did we just put them in there, kept them in there as things that the teachers could still cover but not in depth?
So the concept of, like, to give you an example of deriving the equation of a circle and given the center and radius, it's using the Pythagorean theorem. Okay, that's the whole idea of the Pythagorean theorem, is what evolves that particular equation.
Mhm.
So if you'd had a dynamics class in the past, the students wouldn't have derived it on their own. The teacher would have derived it for them. And that will still happen. And that's where the state basically said, look, this is something that should not be a requirement for everybody. And there was no testing on assessments that ever had it. They knew that that was kind of a miss on theirs. So the concept of having an equation of a circle is definitely still within the curriculum. How you handle that is what's different going through. And the parabola is the same idea. Parabola, like what I would do with the teachers, and we would talk about, is the teacher themselves, as part of the lesson, might derive it so that they understand this wasn't just pulled out of the sky. This is why this equation is, but they will never be expected to redo that on their own. And at this day and age with technology, you know, even with the honors level classes, do they have to rederive it on their own later on down the road? They won't. They'll be able to Google what it is. They should know where it came from. They should know it came from the Pythagorean theorem, but not have to actually recreate that on their own. As you get to higher level classes, especially the honors working towards the AP, there will be a lot of time where they will be deriving certain formulas. So that will come back, just not necessarily in that 10th grade curriculum going through.
But our teachers will continue to teach that in their dynamics and the regular geometry classes. We're
So,
not expecting the students
yes,
to recreate or
exactly.
redo this. Right.
They'll teach the topic, they'll teach the equation, and they'll even show them where it came from so they have an understanding. But the students themselves don't have to come up with it in the past. And even had we done that in the past, and especially in a class like a dynamics, the teacher would have been doing that along with them. And we might still do it that way. That might be a discovery activity, but without the stress of you're going to have to do this on your own on a test. We would never have done that even in the past going through. But like I said, it's the equation of a circle, equation of a parabola. Those are parabolas are still in there. That's even something that's in Algebra 1. But what it says is derive the equation of a parabola given the focus and a directrix, which are two specific parts of that. So they should know what a parabola is. They should know how to use it. That portion that you're talking about would be done actually in an Algebra 2 class. So it didn't disappear. It just kind of changed where it gets done for that one. And then finding the point on a directed line segment between two given points. That is just, it'll still come up in it. Yeah, that's kind of a little less one. All right, did I answer your question? I think I did.
You did. No, I think what I was getting at is that do we continue to impart that information to the students, even though we don't expect the students and it's not required of the students to be able to reproduce that? So
Yes.
I think you answered my question.
So it could be an activity in class, but not something they're graded on. Does that make sense?
Not something that they're graded on, but we're doing our part of giving that information out. We're still teaching enough. Anybody else? Any questions? I think you're good to go, Ms. Gasco.
Okay, so the next two are going to be, and this is going to be grouped as well, probability and statistics and AP statistics. They are similar courses, but very, very different in the amount of rigor and critical thinking that goes into them. So the AP statistics, that curriculum is obviously driven by the College Board. They are making some changes kind of as going through, but we adapt to that going through. One of the key things in that is about students really being able to analyze, do investigations, problem solving very much on their own to a very high level. Again, that whole entire curriculum is literally dictated by how College Board wants it going through. It's not an easy course. It's a very valuable course because when you go into college and even, you know, the businesses and the sciences or medical fields, all the different fields, it's a big part of life in terms of being able to understand it. So the regular probability and statistics is kind of dappling. It is nowhere near to the level of rigor, but it does cover it. If you look at the curriculum, you'll see several of the same topics, but at a much easier level that they're going through. So another thing that the state did, just so that you know, they took out a lot of the probability and statistics standards and saying you have to do them at every level, made them as again, they actually made them optional or things that could be done at higher level classes. This would be the perfect time where most of those standards have all been really embedded in and true, where they're like truly engaged in going through. So the regular prob and stats, that is meant for students that could be, in both cases, they should have at least completed Algebra 2, not enrolled in it, because they do need Algebra 2 concepts to be able to solve a lot of the problems. It's meant for a student that really just kind of wants to see what it's like, get a feel for it. They will not be getting college credit for it with that, but it actually is a very, very good course. Many, many students will take either one of these concurrently with another math class. However, it does count as a math class if they wanted it to count as it, and the state recognized it as well. So generally students will take, whenever they start, whether it's 7th grade or 9th grade, Algebra 1, a geometry, an Algebra 2. Then from that point on, they have choices of a pre-calculus course, dynamics of trig, probability and statistics, probability and statistics, AP statistics, or they could go on and take this as well as calculus. All you need is the Algebra 2 background at that point to take these. So like I said, very, very common. Right now we're running 2 probability and statistics classes, and we're running 3 of the AP. So that's what we've gotten to the schedule right now. So a couple of concepts that are going through to give you an idea. The regular prob and stats has intro to statistics, descriptive statistics, where students would be comparing and contrasting data, utilizing visual representations from the real world. Their probability would be using combinations, permutations, multiplication rules, addition rules. They've got some discrete probability distributions, normal distributions, confidence intervals, but again, they're doing it kind of at a very, very basic level of going through. They do hypothesis testing as well. The AP, again, dictated by the College Board, is exploring 1 variable data, exploring 2 variable data, where they're using graphical and numerical methods to investigate an association between different events. Much more complex, much more where they're actually creating the things going through. Collecting the data, same idea. They're actually getting generalizations from their findings, the probability of random variables and distribution. Sampling as well, but again, where they're calculating the probability given certain circumstances that would be much more complicated events. And that's just to give you a couple of ideas. Once the AP exam is over, both classes come together. And if you ever get a chance towards the springtime, it's a phenomenal event. We have the AP Carnival, and depending on the level of the class they're in, the students are grouped and they come up with different games and different probabilities. And it's a whole little friendly competition. I don't want to say not friendly. It's not super competitive, but a tiny bit. But the great thing about it is that the kids in both classes can actually come up with their own things, and they have a whole set of criteria that goes through with that. So that's what they do actually from the AP exam on, and they really start working on that. And it's just a very fun event for them. All right, so that is kind of the rundown of the 2 of them. Does anybody have any questions on those 2?
Did I hear you right? There are 2 sections of the probability and statistics and 3 of AP stats.
AP stats, yes, that's currently what we
Is that how it is almost every year, where there's more in AP stats and fewer in probability and statistics?
So though the demand to take the class has increased drastically, as with a lot of classes going through. So we've added in where we could. For several years, there were 2 and 2. And they were kind of closed out, but not really, where students were not able to take it. This year, we were able to run a 3rd one. I honestly don't remember, but I think we ran 3 last year as well. I think it's only been a couple of years. I would love to be able to run even more of that. And as time goes on, I think we'll be able to have more room in the schedule to be able to do that.
Do we have students that are not able to take it because we filled our sections with either of these classes?
So I don't have the final numbers of that, because what happens is sometimes let's just say you have 96 spots, right? You have 32 per class for the 3 classes. You might have 100, 110 that ask for it, but they may not necessarily be their first choice, or their schedules may have conflicts going through. So I know that they've still been working on that towards the end. I can tell you this, most students are able to take it. I don't know if every single student that wants it can take it. I don't know how that, again, you've got 2,600 different schedules that sometimes there's conflicts that work with that.
Right. And Dr. Lehman, it would be nice to get an idea, because you're right, Ms. Gasco, I think there's been a significant shift towards the business classes. We've been offering a whole gamut of them, really good ones, and we've been seeing a lot of students wanting to take it. And I want to speak to that Carnival personal experience. My son took AP Stat last year, and I think that was the thing he was most excited about.
And
And
probably
it's good
remembers
to know that. Yeah, it was just a lot of fun, a whole lot of fun. To hear him talking animatedly about it was definitely a parent, joyful moment for me, because, when it's difficult classes, they don't want to talk too much about it. But when it comes to fun parts of the difficult classes, it's good to hear them talk about it. I do want to, know if we're having any issues in being able to offer it to all students interested. So that could be a
I can tell you most. Like I said, it wouldn't be that many, but I don't, again, until the schedules are actually finalized and locked in of how they work things out, I wouldn't have that.
Great.
But we do, like I said, I'm sure as time goes on and, the rooms open up, if the enrollment goes down a little bit, there'll be more rooms. That would definitely something that I would encourage being able to have more of. But
It's definitely
it's that with the computer science. Like sometimes they want the computer science, sometimes they want the province stats. They have to fit all their other content areas in as well. So it's not that everybody wants to take it, but they are fairly popular courses.
Anybody else have any questions on the
I do.
classes?
I just have a quick question regarding the number of students in those classes and the probability in statistics.
Yes. So we typically cap them out at 32. I know when they're doing the schedule to balance, I think they start with, I don't do the scheduling, but I think they start with like 28, 29, or 30, and then they level them out and then they open up seats. But I typically will have 32 to a class in each of those. Sometimes once the school year starts, they might have one or two open seats because again, somebody's schedule has changed where they wanted something else and that was more important to them. But we typically run about 64 students in the province stats and about 96 in the AP stats over the last couple of years.
Thank you.
And it's typically only juniors, mostly seniors that would want to take it. So it is quite a few students. They think about 5 classes of probability and statistics or AP stats. It's a lot of students that could take one or the other. And they like math, which is nice for a change. So any other questions on the AP stats or the province stats?
I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. And I have one last document, and that is AP Computer Science A. And I just need to find AP Computer Science A. While they didn't have, obviously any math in there was updated to the Math 2023 standards. AP has actually changed their course description. So it was a perfect year to line it up. It actually is almost all of the exact same content. But they've grouped things. So if you were to compare the two different documents, the old one to this one, all of a sudden you would be like, why does all of a sudden he only have, I think it's like 5 different units, where in the past there were probably 10 or more. And what AP did as a College Board is they actually grouped things together. And within that, they have several things. So when Mr. Mincher wrote it, he actually wrote it to line up with that, which would be the perfect way. So it is totally aligned with how they want to do things. To give you an idea what has changed in the course revisions in terms of College Board, they did add a topic on text files and data sets, which is in there. They've removed inheritance. But I know you're going to see that in the document, but if you look at the timing of that document, inheritance is in there, but it is there after the AP exam. So Mr. Minter is still going to have it where it's going to be taught, but there's no longer the need to stress that before they take the AP exam. And it gives them a nice concept to cover before that. So basically those were the main concepts. They did some changes in terms of how the exam is, which would obviously be covered, but it's not, that's kind of minor. That's more of how they're assessing it. To give you an idea, so he's got objects and methods, he's got selection and iteration, class creation, the data collection. Those are actually the 4 main concepts from the College Board in terms of the units, and then inheritance is last. Less typical of our documents, you will see a lot of transfer statements because those are the overarching ideas of what they should have, but that's because that's what's been grouped in them. Just to give you kind of a quick idea, If you took, let's just say the one on objects and methods, it will be students will be able to independently determine an appropriate program designed to solve a problem, write problem coding and implementing, designing the results and output, and there's a number of things. One of the key things with the AP Computer Science A is that absolutely has to be done in the language of Java, where if you take the computer science principles, the purpose of the principles is to be more overarching, where it's a broader approach, covering more foundational concepts. But this one actually is very specific, has to be taught in terms of Java, at least up until this point going through. And again, that's just kind of the philosophical difference the College Board has between the two, which is why we have it where they take the one first and then they kind of work their way up to a more critical thinking, abstract thinking with this one. So any questions on the AP Computer Science A? I don't have a lot of say in what's in that because that's more of a College Board decision.
So one of the things that I did was surprised to see was that it's still Java, despite the fact that it's been updated to the latest standards. College Board is not pushing towards any other programming language. I know it's got to be object oriented, but I feel like there's so much more use of Python and R out there. And AP Comp Sci Principle is one of our best comp sci programming classes, right? Are we on the side anyhow incorporating Python in our curriculum?
So Mr. Maralda has some in his, but not in the AP Computer Science A. They are very specific. They want it to be Java. And it's a very complicated course. And as it is, it's very hard, very, very difficult to get 4s and 5s. I mean, even if you look at the state and the global results going through it, it is a very, very difficult course. So if you were to start adding in other languages that they had to learn as well, you would be taking away, again, we're talking about this one course in particular, we would be taking away what they could be learning. Languages are going to change over time. So any one that they have, by the time they graduate college in 4 years, you're right. There's going to be probably 3 other different languages. AI is going to create their own language probably. But in this particular class, we do not do any other language because we need them to be able to get ready for this exam.
Oh, right. And my question was in how are we changing this? Because you're right. We don't want to make it any more difficult than it already is for the students. But we have other opportunities, and you're saying there are opportunities through other courses that Mr. Maralda might be.
Mr. Maralda knows more of his than I do. I mean, the web design and the app development do stick with using the Java because they want them to really, again, focus on being able to create web designs, which is something that is very, very useful for them to know, is this a career path that I might want to take? And app development is a similar type of thing, and very, very popular. Mr. Maralda, I'm going to let you speak to the Python because I know it comes up in some of your courses. I just don't know which ones.
Sure. Yeah. So Python. So a lot of the times with regard, what Ms. Gasco said is absolutely correct with regards to the 2 different AP courses. Through the Python tends to appear a lot in the technical applications and the more of the what we would call CTE courses, career technical education courses. And one of the reasons we find that the more the languages that seem to be evolving very rapidly appear in those technical areas because they often mirrored what's happening in the job market, which is why it's nice to see the 2 AP paths, or really not even just the AP paths, because even you spoke to it before about how the nature of probability and statistics can kind of diverge depending on what students' individual goals are. But what I think is nice about what the College Board does is it provides the framework for students to learn in a rigorous collegiate atmosphere, various languages. And like Ms. Gasco said, it'll very likely look a little bit differently in a few years. But you can access, for those of you that are curious, you can access instruction in Python through any of the engineering or the STEM electives, the capstone electives that we have at the high school, and even in many of the co-curricular clubs. It will appear on the AP Computer Science Principles exam. But I would suppose that might look quite different in a few years, which is why it's important for us to continuously train our staff, and why it's great that Ms. Gasco was able to get Mr. Minter to update the curriculum for this class so regularly, because it does evolve quickly, and we're constantly looking at through stakeholder groups, through what post-secondary groups are telling us. And the College Board makes it easy for us too, whenever they make tweaks to what they're expecting as well. But yeah, no, you can get all the languages that you'd like. And a lot of times there may be two students in the same class that may be learning different languages simultaneously. But what we focus on is the applications, the procedures for understanding it, and most importantly, the troubleshooting in the code.
Thank you. I don't have any other questions. Anybody else? Any questions on the AP Comp Sci principles?
AP Comp Sci A.
AP Comp Sci A, sorry. He talked about principles right now, and so that stayed at the top of my mind.
We just don't have that document up yet. That one will
Yes.
probably in a year or two.
Well, you can continue.
That's my last. That's all 5 of mine.
All right, excellent.
So just
So the
quick,
Comp Sci principles is coming up next in the future.
I don't know if it's going to be next year or the year after. We'll have to talk about it.
okay.
It also helps to know when College Board might be wanting to revise it. It's almost best to try to do it around that time if you can.
And what I understand from Mr. Meralda's statement was that we do, through other avenues, through our clubs, we are being able to provide the opportunity for interested learners and mentorship for Python or whatever else it is that they need for application development program. Just being able to get them ready for what's out there. But what the College Board needs, the College Board needs. And I'm a Java programmer
Correct.
myself.
In our district, you could get, our students can get Python as early as 4th grade. If, through the, I mean, not that let me just make something clear. That's not necessarily happening, but they could. So like we do have situations in the middle school where some of our students, whether it be through the Club Code or the Code Zero program, or even just some of the electives or TSA or just what kids are doing on their own, they find themselves learning the content at a very, many of them are doing it at home as a hobby as well. They're learning the content at a very rapid pace. But that's why you'll notice that even not necessarily just in the computer science or the math areas, we try to layer our more complex curricular areas with co-curricular extensions for that reason. The best example would be in 5th grade in our Code Zero program, we will have students doing block coding, but on any given year, there will be 2 or 3 kids on Python, and that's usually because they have an older sibling that's gone through something. And in many instances, that just happens to be one of the classes where some of our high school volunteers may be showing up. But, if they enter the middle school or the high school, even just being remotely aware of what it looks like and the kind of the differences of it, that gives them a tremendous leg up. And that explains why the students in the math and sciences do quite well, particularly when they score on the standard assessments.
Excellent. I love to hear that. And I was aware that we have students that are doing that outside of school, but to come into the school environment in a competitive, setting where they want to do something, it's imperative to know that our staff is ready to hold their hands, even though this may not be part of their regular curriculum, and mentor them or guide them forward. And I mean, as we've seen in results of the TSA or any other robotic competitions, these kids do have the mentorship they need, which I'm obviously very proud of. So all good things.
And to summarize, it's not just clubs and electives, clubs that they can do that in. There's electives as well. They're just more technology career, from Mr. Meralda's department. So the computer science with the computer science A is very specific to be about coding and writing codes, and of that level. It's not fun for some students and it's some for others. But some of the other electives we have are using them and they're engaging them, and it's just a different type of a course. So just because a student goes through and said they never got Python doesn't mean that it wasn't there and it weren't in curriculums that could have been picked. It's the path that they might have taken.
And I can give a perfect example that will be very relevant. So next month we'll be presenting the vehicular systems and fabrication course at the Monroe Township High School. It's a new automation course, and we're finalizing that curriculum. And in 21st century automotive repair, there are pretty regularly applications of computer science principles. Whether it's diagnosing an engine, or simple as plugging in an engine light and trying to figure out how to get to it and troubleshoot it. And one of the challenges that we're having as a department is how do we authentically install these fundamentals of computer science for students that maybe aren't looking to take it as far as Python, but still need to have it those fundamentals in place. So what you've seen is, and you've seen it throughout our program of study, is ways that we can now branch off of what has already been kind of the spine of our computer science program through the AP program. And now what we're doing is splintering into the technical areas and applying it to things like woodshop, materials and methods. Even our graphic design now is very driven by applications of fundamental computer science in our video production courses. And we're not naive to the fact that this is not limited to just the electives. And it's overwhelming to a certain degree to try to keep up with the pace. And that's why you're also seeing different ways in which we govern the curriculum and that we work with students to guide them into the lanes that are best going to equip them with their goals. So, you'll see regular evolutions to these programs. My guess would be over the next really 10 to 20 years and probably beyond. And you'll see them leak into other content areas continuously.
Thank you for sharing that. It's very reassuring because that's exactly what I wanted to hear. That are we being holistic in our approach of technology? And I know it stemmed off from the AP Computer Science A course discussion, but it helps for people who are listening to understand that there's a whole lot of what we are able to offer for whatever the student needs. Anybody else have any questions? We can move on to the next document.
Sure. And just a quick update. So 112 students requested AP Stats, 96 were scheduled. All seniors and juniors who requested it are in the class. So, we talked about that before, making sure students, especially junior, senior year, when they're running out of time, are getting those opportunities. So
that's good numbers. That's good.
Yep.
Numbers. Thank you.
Mr. Snyder, you're up. You have a bunch, and feel free to start with whatever document you want and just start working your way through them. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Lehman. Yes, we have the Department of Fine and Performing Arts and Physical Education. We've been very busy writing curriculum this summer. I think I have 12 documents to present. So if it's not a record, I hope to break it next time. So we're going to start with the first 4 documents. I'm going to group them by our elementary school documents. So the first one is our first grade elementary art. And I should say all of the next 4 documents are driven by the 2020 SLS Visual and Performing Arts Standards, as well as the 2017 SLS Social and Emotional Learning Standards. Each document may have some cross-curricular, but those are in every single document. So elementary art in grade 1 is taught at our lower elementary schools, and students have this once a week. And students are instructed on the core fundamentals of arts education, the elements of art and principles of design. And at this age, we're really teaching students to like and appreciate art. So for the highlights, students are working on 2D studio art, 3D studio art, and learning the language of art, such as many different definitions, such as what is artwork? How does artwork express yourself? Learning about lines, shapes, colors, and many different areas. So this is one of the first steps in their arts education, and they're learning the skills that they need to get through the lower elementaries into the upper elementary art. So, any questions on that one? Trying to move as quickly as possible.
How can you when I'm here to ask questions? Sorry, Mr. Snyder, really quick. Is this being taught by an art teacher in all the grade 1s and all the schools?
Yes.
And
Yes. Yeah.
Is the instructions given in the classrooms, or is there a different art room?
So we do have art rooms. Sometimes, depending on schedules, the teachers will travel to the classrooms. But at the lower elementaries, a majority have a designated art room. For instance, Oak Tree. I was just over there. Oak Tree has a designated art room, which is there. Woodland has a designated, even though it's an upper elementary, designated art room. Just the only time that they would be on a cart teaching in the classrooms would be just if it was a scheduling issue for there. But the elementaries are primarily taught in an art room, and it is by an art teacher. the art teachers at the elementary schools do travel between buildings. So, yep.
Anybody else has any questions on art, grade 1? You can go ahead.
All right. Next, general music, grade 2, second grade. General music is what this course does. This also is once a week. Students will have this class, and they this class is reviewing skills that were taught in first grade. And really emphasizes vocal confidence, so students are comfortable with their current voice, where it is, singing melodies, harmonies, rhythmic and meter development, and really an appreciation for music overall. So they will learn rhythms, pitch, dynamics, tempo, and different styles of music, and the cultural background in world music in this class. The teachers do a phenomenal job with that. One of the nice parts about this is we were able to add some cross-curricular standards in math in this document, because when learning about rhythms, it is math and the value of the rhythms and what's a quarter note added to a dotted half note, for instance, and students, and along with time signatures, students are able to relate their math skills to general music, which I thought was great. I added that just for Miss Gasco because I knew she would like that. So no, I'm just kidding. So yeah, the teacher. I've observed a lot of these classes, and I am always joyed to see the students learning and really starting their journeys in music, because this is second grade. In 2 years, they'll be able to do band and chorus in fourth grade. So, any questions about general music?
It starts in grade 2?
No, general music starts. They've already had a year of general music, so this.
We're just updating grade 2 curriculum.
We're doing grade 2. Yes.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? You can go ahead.
Cool. We're going to go over to instrumental music. This is specifically for 5th grade instrumental music. So 5th grade band will, students have played, students may start in 5th grade, but a majority of our students at our upper elementary start in 4th grade, and this is their second year of band instruction. This will have a 30-minute pull-out lesson each week, in addition to 2 zero periods a week, which is the first time that they're being introduced to zero period, and the first time they get to experience the alarm clock to wake up early and have mom and dad drive them to zero period. But they love it and get used to it very quickly. This I know I've talked about it before with other documents, but this fully embraces the MTSD vertical teaching program, where students will have a different band director in every grade. So the students will have a band director for zero period, but they will be studying their instrument in lessons with a specialist on that instrument specifically, and that will continue all the way through high school. The teacher that starts them will just stay with them through their education all the way through high school, which is just a wonderful, rewarding thing to see. And I think I've mentioned it before, I really believe is the gold standard of music education, and our results have shown that. Through the year, the students will they will learn grade level music appropriate to 5th grade. They will enhance their practice skills, learn more scales, ensemble skills, and perform in the spring and winter concert, the winter and spring concert series, which is always a lot of fun at the elementary schools. There is also opportunities for in 5th grade that students may start getting adjudicated as a band. We have brought groups to the CJMEA Elementary Band Festival, where for the first time students get to go with their band and be adjudicated for where they are in 5th grade. And in 5th grade, students are also, they're not quite at middle school level yet, but they are eligible for CJMEA Elementary Honors Band, which is by teacher nomination only. It is non-auditioned, and then students get accepted by teacher nomination, and then they get to do a one-day event where they perform with students from 40 other schools and put on a concert the same day. Actually, Ms. Bora, I think 2 of your students when 5th grade, I think, participated in that back in the day now. So it's a great wonderful program, and our numbers are just rising from 4th grade to 5th grade. Our retention is better and better every year. So, any questions about 5th grade band?
I have none. Anybody else? This is always good to hear about the music programs. You can continue, Mr. Smith.
We're going to go to 4th and 5th grade elementary chorus on the other side, which is open to all students. This is solely a 0 period course, and they have a chorus 3 times per week, 4th grade, 5th grade, and then a combined day where they can do combined pieces. The students in chorus in upper elementary study a broad range of musical literature and different styles in various meters and even different languages, which is wonderful. They perform at the winter and spring concerts as well by grade level, 4th grade course, 5th grade course, and then, like I said, combined at the end. Some of the things that they study in chorus is score study and theory behind music, sight reading, solfege, and then preparation for their concert on this. This chorus is open to all learners, and all students find success, and we have very healthy sized choruses in the elementary schools, and they sound great. Similar to band, students also in 4th and 5th grade have the opportunity to be nominated for CJMEA Honors Chorus for the elementary school, which is the same thing by teacher nomination. They get to participate in a day in May every year, which last year we were fortunate enough to have it at our own middle school. So we had home turf for that, and perform with students from many other school districts and put on just a beautiful concert at the end of the day. So that is 4th and 5th grade chorus. Any questions?
All 3 upper elementary schools have their own chorus teachers, Mr.
Yes.
Smith? Okay.
Yes.
And this is only 0 period. So these
only
kids...
0 period. Yes. The difference between chorus and band is chorus is only 0 period. Band has the lesson component during the school day.
Anybody else? Any questions? Yeah, we can continue.
All right. We're going to take a left turn here. We're going to go to physical education at the high school now. And our first course is Strength and Conditioning 2. This course is open now to juniors and seniors. Previously, it was only open to seniors. Now, with the advent of alternate pathways or option 2, because of that, we were able to last year launch Strength and Conditioning 1 to include sophomores. Because of that, through natural progression, Strength 2 can now be open to juniors and seniors. Next year, we are going to launch Strength and Conditioning 3 for students who have wanted to stay with the program sophomore, junior, and senior year. So I'm very excited about the program expansion, and that came directly out of the success of option 2. Let us open that. This course is now at the intermediate level of strength. It reinforces key concepts. It promotes accountability, goal setting, safety, consistency, and really a structured workout regimen that the students do in class, where everyone has take what they did in Strength 1 and then really refines it to make it very personalized in Strength 2. And the students are able to go at their own, what's comfortable for them and what works for them and their physical things. The teachers work very individualized with students, and in seeing this class, I've learned a lot going into this class, just about the different techniques and all the machinery that the kids are doing, which is fantastic. I jokingly asked one of the students if they wanted to spot me, and I said, no, don't do that. That's okay. That's okay. But really what we're teaching here is lifelong personal fitness, and the students do a great job. I should say this course is driven by the 2020 SLS Comprehensive Health and Physical Education, as well as also the 2017 Social and Emotional Learning Standards in this course. Any questions about this? I'm very excited about the expansion of this program.
And I second you on that enthusiasm. I think this is great that we were able to offer a progression from sophomore into junior into second. Did you say that the most recent standard for social and emotional learning was 2017?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, all right. I don't have any other questions. Anybody else, any questions? You can move on.
All right. So the next two documents I'm going to do, I'm going to do them separately, but they are together. We have rewritten physical education for 9th grade and 10th grade because the documents we had were, it's been quite a long time since, prior to my time, since they've been updated. So they were definitely due for a rewrite here. Next year, we're doing 9th and 10th right now. Next year, we're going to do 11th and 12th. So physical education for 9th grade, students are exposed to a wide variety freshman year of sports, games, and physical activities. Some examples of these are soccer, floor hockey, nitro ball, pickleball. They get to do Project Adventure, which is always fun. Track and field, health-related fitness and the fitnessgram testing, and wall climbing, which is excellent. There is a CPR unit in freshman year, which is important for everyone. And in their in the health unit, which for 9th grade, they have 3 semesters of regular phys ed, 1 semester of health. This is very important topics where students in health will talk about their overall health, units on mental health, the human life cycle, sexually transmitted diseases, and drugs and dangers of alcohol and drugs in there, which are very important. And students start to dig deeply into having a better understanding of mental health during freshman year. So this is the teachers have done a fabulous job writing this, and this course also now the standards are now updated from previously. So this has the 2020 health and phys ed standards and also the social emotional standards as the other. Any questions on freshman health and phys ed, I should say?
None. Thank you.
Yeah.
Is there? Yeah, I just have.
Yeah.
Do you use any kind of a what kind of resource do you use, or do you need any with this?
No,
course?
we have resources that teachers hand out in the classroom. A lot of it is compilation resources through. Okay. There are health books, but it's compilation resources where teachers will take a unit from here, make their own handouts, and then give to the students that way. And Schoology has been great, especially in health, because everything is uploaded right there for them to log into and see.
Great, thanks, Slack.
Great.
But yeah,
sophomore year is a very exciting time in the physical education and health. Sophomore year, students are exposed to a more variety of sports and games and activities. Some examples: football, tennis, handball, volleyball, floor hockey, basketball, and badminton through 3 marking periods. And students are very excited about sophomore year health because that is driver's ed. Now, I want to start out by saying our teachers do a above and beyond job of making sure that students have the proper tools to go out there and become safe drivers. And I've watched them, and they really get into detail-oriented things where these students leave and they go out there and they know how to, and they feel confident and how to be safe drivers. This course meets the state mandate of 30 hours of classroom instruction of driver's ed. It includes all the aspects of different driving techniques and safety, but also things like how to care for your vehicle, financial responsibility with your vehicle, defensive driving, and the study of traffic laws, and even how to register your car and register for your driver's license. So there's a lot of really important life skills that happen in driver's ed. We do offer the written test for students, which they take at the end of this marking period. And like I said, they really come out very, very, very well-rounded on this. And I wish it was this well-rounded when I was taking driver's ed as Dr. Lehman could probably tell you I would not be able to change a tire if my life depended on it, but these students will. So it's very comprehensive in that realm. So any questions on that? And we are all of the state mandates are thoroughly in this document as far as driver's ed, so we're following them all.
The driver's ed is sophomore year and not freshman. I thought that if you
No,
should do
it's sophomore year.
some
Yeah.
time ago. No? And this is the first marking period, or it gets spread out?
So historically, we have done this first marking period. This year, we're making a slight change in conversations that I've had with Dr. Higgins and Mr. Collins. We felt it was better to move this to second marking period. The reason, one of the main reasons for that, there's actually a lot of reasons, but one of the main reasons is it's nice that all seniors we move senior health to marking period 1, so all seniors will start the first day of school in the building. So there would be, and then second marking period, those option 2 students can start doing their option 2 thing. The other thing is, because health is a graduation requirement senior year, we felt it was better that they do it first marking period in case there was any issues. They have the rest of the year to make sure that they meet the requirement for graduation with that there. So it's going to go, first marking period is going to be senior health, second marking period is going to be sophomore health. So they will be starting this marking period too.
From a senior perspective, that makes sense. But from a sophomore perspective, I'm just thinking from the age group, they want to take the learner's permit as soon as they turn 16. And we have a lot of sophomores that are probably turning 16.
We did discuss that so they will be done with this by January. So it will be a couple of the months. That was something that that got brought up. We felt that overall, because there are many reasons, that the positives of having seniors start outweighed the negatives with this. So that is going to be there, but they're going to start right second marking period with that. So
anybody else, any questions on sophomore phys ed? You're good to go, Mr. Schneider.
Cool. Jumping around more to the high school, the next 2 documents that I have are the music theory. So it's music theory 1 and AP music theory. So this is music theory 1 is open to students in 9 through 12. And any student may take this, whether they have a musical background or not. They do not need to be in band or chorus to take music theory 1. It is open to everyone. These courses, by the way, are driven by the visual and performing arts standards. Also, the 2020 SLS Career Readiness, Life Literacy, and Key Skills Standards, and the 2017 Social Emotional Standards. This is an introductory course that offers really a foundation of essential elements of music theory, where students understand music notation, clefs, rhythmic values, note names, and it really emphasizes applying those skills to pieces of music of all kinds, classical all the way to jazz and any and many other styles of music. But it starts out by taking the skills they learn and actually applying it to music and being able to analyze music and even do their own writing of music. So students that are in this course we hope, will stay through the AP course, which I'm going to talk about a little bit. But this is what we call the training wheels course as far as things go. Some of the highlights, like I said, symbols and terminology, major and chromatic scale construction, key signature identification and construction, rhythm notation, chord analysis, and also preparation for post-secondary readiness in this course. We've had students really enjoy this course, and they learn a lot just about musical skills and how to apply them to, like I said, any type of music that they may listen to or enjoy. So that's music theory 1. Any questions on that? Going along to AP music theory, this is open to students 10 through 12. And This is music theory expanded to the most advanced level. This is a college course, really. This is a course that freshmen would take when they enter college as a music major, and this is very in depth, where students strengthen their skills in reading, writing, listening, and analyzing music. This also, we start using MIDI and musical technology in this course for students to explore with the skills they've learned, as far as doing their own writing of music. And we do an excellent job of preparing students to take the AP exam in music theory, which many of our students decide to do. And those that are studying music of any kind in college, if they score high enough, can use this course to replace their freshman theory course in college. I will say the past 2 years we have had this course dual accredited with Middlesex County, which has been wonderful. And students each year from theory, from the beginning levels of theory, we hope that we will see them all in this AP course, and they will want to continue. Any questions about AP music theory?
Do you have 2 documents remaining, Mr. Schneider?
I have 1, 2, 3, 4 documents remaining.
I only have 4 more minutes because
Okay, I'm gonna go really fast, really fast.
Thank
the next
you.
one is Piano 2, which is another course at Monroe Township High School. Piano 2 is for the intermediate level piano student they recommend a change in Piano 2 this year is that it used to be Piano 1, you need it as a prerequisite. Now it's Piano 1, but we felt that by audition, if students play, or teacher recommendation from studying from outside or knowing how to play, we would let them in this course. So this is for students grades 9 through 12. This is, again, for the intermediate piano player. The purpose of this course is for students to learn piano as a lifelong skill. We are not necessarily looking for all students to become the next Liberace, but if they do, that's wonderful. If they do, but it's really to teach them the skill of piano. They will study a variety of music here, and they will also, in this class, have the opportunity to perform Piano 2, 2 recitals through the year. So this is next month. There's a surprise coming. We will be presenting the curriculum in September for Honors Piano, which is a brand new course that comes right out of Piano 2, which is replacing Piano 3. So that is that one. Any questions on that, on Piano 2?
You told us about it.
We're
Happy
getting
to see you here.
The next one is AP Art History, which is a wonderful course that's there at Monroe Township High School, which is based on the study of visual arts, which is painting, sculpture. And in this course, students are going to understand the role of all the arts in the development of civilization. Students are going to be able to analyze art and study these pieces from global prehistory all the way to present and contemporary pieces of art throughout the year. It fully will prepare them for the AP exam. This course has a great cross-curricular in 2020 SLS Social Studies. A lot of portion of what they're learning in history can be related to many of these units. There are 2 to 3 field trips per year, which I did want to highlight in here, where students will go to the Museum of Modern Art, or the Metropolitan Museum of Art, or even the Philadelphia Museum of Art, depending on the year. So they'll go either to Manhattan or Philly, which is, I know, a very exciting thing for many of these students. One of the things that I like about this course, it's really students get to know how art reflects the cultural exchange and power and beliefs and identity of the artist, and what's being represented in the piece. So really popular course at Monroe Township High School, and yes, very, very exciting. Any questions about this one? I'm going as quick as I can.
2020 is the latest standard for the SLS for
Yes.
social studies. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. You can move on to the next one.
If I got that wrong, Ms. Struss will yell at me later, I'm sure. That's fine.
She's smiling.
All right, then I got it right. Yay. Next one is a brand new course at Monroe Township High School, which I'm very proud of. We have been able to finally expand our digital photography program at Monroe Township High School to Digital Photography 3, which is being launched in September. This is the third level. What is great about this is we made this course because of the demand out there. The students that took Digital Photo 1, Digital Photo 2, and we had enough to make more than enough for a class for Digital Photo 3. So we are launching this in September this year. The students here this is going to be at the most advanced level where students are going to use the techniques learned in Digital Photography 1 and 2 and give them really professional level opportunities in editing, and from everything to commercial and product photos to studio portraits and lighting. And they are going to be developing, continuing their portfolio that they started right in Digital Photo 1 all the way to Digital 3 now, which is that expansion is going to be 3 years worth of work. And some of them that go into the field will be using that as their college portfolio, which is awesome. We update annually to reflect the latest software. And I should say this is open to both juniors and seniors at Monroe Township High School.
Congratulations. This is great news. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Last one coming up. All right. Our last one, last but not least, is Studio Art 2, which is simply the second level of our Studio Art program at Monroe Township High School, and it's open to grades 10 through 12. This is an intermediate level course. The prerequisite is Studio Art 1 there. It's an intermediate course. It focuses on drawing, painting, and design techniques. The nice part about this course is this actually digs into art history a little bit as well. So many students that take Studio Art 2 actually really enjoy it and then end up in art history probably senior year where it's there. So some of the highlights of this is the art history, media exploration, painting, drawing, human figure art, design solutions, and getting to use to expand the different tools that they use, such as watercolors, acrylic paint, charcoal, graphite. They really start digging into that, and students that still want to continue in Studio Art, which we hope they all do, there's still 2 more levels at the high school, which is great. So if a student knows they're really passionate about art, they want to go into freshman year, they can take Studio Art 1, sophomore year, Studio Art 2, Studio Art 3, and then AP when they're seniors. So it's very, very exciting that we have this. And if you ever look in the hallway, not to toot our own horn, but if you ever look in the hallways of the near the PAC, and you see in the display cases and what's hanging on the walls, all of that was done by students in our studio or our graphic design classes. So that is not professional work done by professionals. It's done by our students at the high school. So.
Thank you for sharing that, because that is, it's always a pride to walk through those class cases and see inside. Thank you so much, Mr. Schneider.
Any questions?
Anybody else? Any questions? We're good.
And I'll still have 2 or 3 more next month. Isn't that exciting?
All good. All good. But I have 12 minutes left. And as we try always to give the least amount of time to Mr. Maralda, you have 12 minutes. And I know you have 2 agenda items under you, and they're both that I'm really eager to hear about. So I hope you can make the most of the 12 minutes. Be talking.
Sure. Ms. Boer, which would you like me to address first?
The esports.
Okay, sure. So I'm actually going to share my screen then, because I did have handouts for you guys. Oh, I don't know if I'm allowed to in this setting. I did have a handout, but what I could do is I could ask Ms. Tagliaferro to upload it to executive content.
If you share it with me, I'll put it up there.
All right, I'll have to email it to you.
Yeah, later you can do that.
Yeah,
I'll put it up so everybody can refer to it after the meeting.
So really quickly, we have positioned ourselves to pilot an esports program this upcoming school year. Ms. Boer, as you know, this is something that we've discussed kind of on the peripheral. For the last few years, we've even attended some seminars down at the NJSBA conference, looking at ways to not just do it because we knew it would be popular, but to do it with fidelity and in a way that lines up with some of the other objectives. And for a historical context, is that esports is not really necessarily a new program. It would be new to Monroe. It's been around for some time now here, especially in central New Jersey. Our district has just had priorities in some of the areas that have aligned specifically with some of the overarching initiatives, whether it be STEM, whether it be literacy, some of those other things. But we feel pretty good about the way that our enrichment program has offered a framework and a model for us to try out new things. So what we are proposing for the upcoming school year, and we're looking at a December winter start time in a small focused manner, is to launch the MTSD esports program, which is going to be targeted in students initially from grades 6 to 12 with a possible expansion into grades 4. New Jersey is one of the stronger esports, at least from the public education standpoint. New Jersey actually has an organization called the Garden State Esports, which is a nonprofit scholastic league, which runs in partnership with the NJDOE, which is why you've seen them down at school boards and things like that. What they do is they offer a governing body to districts and organizations that want to host esports. And for those of you that are unfamiliar with esports, I'll give you the formal definition. And I apologize for the word salad, but that's why I wanted to give you the handout. Esports, which stands for electronic sports, is organized competitive digital gaming in New Jersey. Scholastic Esports has grown quickly and developed into a fully inclusive educational platform that aligns with NJDOE Student Learning Standard 9, which is our favorite: CLICS, career readiness, life literacy, and key skills. Additionally, esports in New Jersey emphasizes equity, digital citizenship, and career readiness. Programs are designed to engage students who may not otherwise participate in traditional athletics or clubs and connecting with pathways in technology, media, and critical 21st century fields. The Garden State Esports organization has established itself and embedded itself right in New Jersey, and actually happens to have its foothold here in central New Jersey. So it was a natural fit for us. So what our goal would be is to offer 3 to 5 teams this winter in the grades I just mentioned. And we hope to have, at minimal, like I said, 2 to 3 teams of consisting 3 to 5 players each. But like all of our programs, we have created a mechanism for scalability if it takes off. We've had preliminary discussions with interested staff members that would be interested in taking on this challenge. And like I said, Garden State Esports makes it pretty easy for us to potentially roll this out with absolutely no cost impact to the district. The proposed games, for those of you that I'm sure are the children that are listening at home on their summer evening to the curriculum committee, but some of you that may have children of your own or that like to play video games yourselves, you may recognize some of the titles, but these are the titles that are featured throughout the Garden State Esports League. We have Rocket League, some Super Smash Brothers Ultimate. I can't say this with a straight face. I'm sorry. I can't believe I'm talking about this at committee. Mario Kart Deluxe, Splatoon 3, and of course, League of Legends. So these are the games, and there's a reason why all these games are selected for Scholastic Esports, particularly because of how they would line up with children and things like that. We could unpack each game and why it's selected by the state. There's resources on the Garden State Esports website. But these games are very purposeful in why they are selected in their adaptability to the various areas I just mentioned. The way that the league works is that there's 3 seasons of fall, winter sports, and they run throughout the year, and each season plays a weekly match for about 8 to 10 weeks. And then they keep scores, have tournaments, there's prizes and madness and fun, as you might imagine. If we were to do this here, like we anticipate doing, we would frame it out with a curricular purpose, obviously, and make those connections as appropriate. On the handout, you'll see I included a brief metric for success, which discusses everything from student participation to the academic impact, particularly in the area of technological applications, team building, and some of those softer skills that we're looking to develop in our CLICS initiative. and of course, community feedback. Another exciting component of this, I'm jumping all over the place, is that Garden State Esports and the state recognize the importance of inclusion, and there is a unified division within Garden State Esports. And as I mentioned to Ms. Roldan earlier, and I've already had preliminary discussions with our Monroe Township CPAG organization about how this would slide right into our unified program, which already exists in the district. So we think that this would be a seamless transition that would answer a call from the community. So we're very excited about the potential of launching this as soon as this winter. And there will be more information forthcoming in the next couple of weeks. And what we would do is we would package this in with our current enrichment services, which feature our club code and our med lab and some of the other things that we do after school. And it is this would be a fee-based program in the pilot structure. It is my intent to go out and find private funding to help support this. But we believe that we have the infrastructure at the high school and the resources already in place to be able to deliver this. We already meet the minimum standards, and we already have a meeting on the books with Garden State Esports this Thursday, if we were to move forward. And my recommendation would also be, and I've discussed this with Dr. Lehman, when establishing a staffing model, that we would employ a certified instructional staff member alongside a technical support staff, assuming they would be available, just to ensure that we could deliver this program without any technical issues. The other thing is, it would be, in my opinion, the best interest of the district to centrally house this program out of the Monroe Township High School, simply because of its centralized location and the technological infrastructure that it offers. Pretty much 5 days a week, sometimes 6, of what's going on. So we really like where we're at, and we think that this would be a very popular program here in Monroe Township. Just for other contextual purposes, because this question might be asked in a moment, some other schools that currently run this program that are locally, High Tech High School, which is right down the street, well, at least from depending on where you are in Monroe Township, at Brookdale, which is generally regarded as a top public STEM program in the country, depending on who you read. And Manasquan is a more smaller public school that does it. Many of the schools in Hamilton use it, and some other schools throughout the state.
I thought
So this would be our desire to launch what has been long marinating in our back burners for the right opportunity, and we think the right opportunity is now.
How many spots are available per
So
season?
So we don't know. So horrible answer, right? So the like when I mentioned before, it's scalable. So we know at minimum we would need 2 to 3 teams of 3 to 5 players. However, depending on how that would on the response, what we would do is we'd maintain a staff to student ratio that we've maintained in all of our other robotics and computer science programs, which is about 1 to 15, 1 to 18. So if we do get the response, we do feel comfortable that we have the interested staff to be able to scale this program quite large. What would really kind of be the cap on the program would be the technology available to us in a given moment. So like for the same challenges we have with robotics, we have 90 inquiries, but we can only service maybe 25 kids. It's not because we can't staff it, but we need kits. And these kits can become very expensive, much like we would need gaming consoles and stations for these kids. However, we've gotten quite good at being creative and finding ways to get everybody in that wants to get in. So what we'd probably do is stagger scheduling, have multiple sessions, much like we've done with Club Code and some of our summer programs.
So this is not going to need to be set up like a club first. We are going to launch this as a fee-based program in December.
Yes, what my recommendation would be is to embed this initiative within the Monroe Township and District Enrichment Services Program, which we've piloted in the past. Our Club Code. We most recently just piloted our medical lab program, and then as Dr. Lehman and I have discussed, and Mr. Baranjica as well, if you read the tea leaves in the way that this type of initiative has evolved nationwide, it's very likely that we could see this as an official NJ. Just depending on how you feel, the truth is what it is. We could see this as an official recognized sport within the state of New Jersey through the NJISAA. In fact, the recommended best practice from Garden State Esports is to award varsity letters, is to treat this as an athletic. And like we've seen with our performing arts programs and our robotics programs, is when you take on that mindset of a competitive program and you treat it as such, usually the results follow. But when you approach it like a club or just as a come as you go fun little thing, then that's the product you get. And so it would be our intention to treat this as a competitive, go all in 110%, because I would imagine this is going to end up as an official sport in the state of New Jersey, probably within the next 5 or 6 years, maybe even sooner.
I'm so happy that we are so close to launching it. I know in essence of time, when you share that attachment, maybe the board members present right now and the others who see it can bring their questions or concerns, if any, to the main board meeting next week. I just feel like this is, you know that I've been advocating this. This is my third year saying, ever since I saw it at NJSBA, it's an opportunity for students, a whole other demographic of students, and not just in continuing to play video games, but in leadership and team building and all of that. So if you can just take 2 minutes for your next agenda item, because I know the next meeting we're already at the end of this meeting. So if just for the summer update, if you
sure, and I'll offer an after action report, much like I've done in years past, later in the fall. But I just want to report out specifically to the high school, while Ms. Gasco is here, especially that, and Sue, tell me if I'm wrong. Today was the final day of the final exams for geometry, the second day. So as of today, we wrapped up our summer initiative, our summer advancement initiative, which was brand new to the district. Which is something that we were really excited that Ms. Gasco's department has been designing really since back in February. And we'll share it out in more detail later on in the year. But I think it's safe to say that Ms. Gasco and the high school are very thrilled with the outcome. If our objective was to be able to offer, programming to all students that want it, within the our expectations here in Monroe, and to send them to a point where they can pass our own design final with our own expectations, is something that I think is tremendously good for a math department that's already been succeeding at a high level. And when we report out on our math data later in the year as well at the high school, you'll see why this is even more exciting, because this just is like cooking with gas at this point. So the summer, we had geometry and honors geometry, just a tick under 40 students that we serviced here, in addition to any of the students that went out of district. But the majority in those content and that subject area stayed with us. And that was the way that we had hoped. And then, like I said, we'll talk more about the nuances on where, and I know Ms. Gasco's already got a list of ways we can really shine this thing up for next year too, and make it even more efficient and more and stronger, that she's willing to share with us. With regards to summer remediation, which was the Virtual Plus Summer School with the embedded support, that wrapped last week. We had 9 students last year. This year we had 77. So it was a significant increase. But more importantly, we reclaimed an overwhelming majority of students that were receiving summer school out of district. It was delivered through the Edgenuity program that Dr. Rizal piloted last year through our ESL program, and we believed it was going to apply seamlessly to our remediation efforts, and we were very thrilled with the way it applied, despite some of the challenges that we were able to overcome. I think what's most exciting is not only did we pass a significant majority of our students, but we have identified already out of the gate ways where, once again, we can shine this program and customize it really almost down to the daily lesson for how it can support our students. So as far as the high school is concerned, with our 2 new initiatives, 77 students in the Virtual Plus, that's up from 9 the previous year, and then 47 total students in our summer advancement, and that's up from 0 from last year because the program didn't exist. So I just want to say congratulations to the math department, specifically Ms. Tracy Scheer and Ms. Katerina Profaci, who and I'll leave you with this. Keep in mind, this was 5 hours a day, 5 days a week. I don't know if there's anyone on this meeting that ever, except for maybe Sue, that had to teach in that model. That is not easy to do in the summertime, is to teach high-level math 5 hours a day. And these teachers did it. And I'm pretty sure neither of them have ever done anything like that before. So I just want to give credit where credit's due, and then go ahead, Sue, I'll let you close it out.
And they were very, very happy with the results as well. Like the students because you see students that often, and that you become attached to them. And so they were rooting for them as well. And I have to say that they did a phenomenal job.
This is so heartwarming to hear. With years that we've been wanting to bring this to Monroe, and to see such phenomenal results in the first year, and not to overshadow the results of the remediation where we, went online. Congratulations to everybody involved. It's just, it's an incredible thing to hear. as a board member. I wish you all the luck. Congratulations on a great summer wrap up. I have to end the meeting now so that the next meeting can start, especially because we're remote. They don't know, they're waiting. Thank you everybody for your time today. I'll see you all next week. Thank you.